Guess what? The government may not be done spending your money to try to revive this economy. The president there was just talking about the spending bill that gets us through this fiscal year. But now let's get on to the stimulus bill. Could a second stimulus package be coming? That would be on top of the nearly $800 billion stimulus package he just recently signed. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she's open to the idea if that's what it takes to restore confidence. And she's getting support from the chief economist of Moody'sEconomy.com. Mark Zandi met with her and other economists yesterday. He says a second stimulus bill is very likely. Take a listen.
We are going to need more taxpayer money up front. I think another stimulus package is a reasonable probability given the way things are going.
Josh Gottheimer was a senior advisor to Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, and Ken Lasay was deputy White House press secretary under President Bush. Good morning to you both. Josh?
Good morning.
What about patience? Do we even know if the first $800 billion is working yet?
Well, I think that's why Congressman Obey said he was not working overnight to drop another stimulus package. We need to wait and see a little bit to see what happens with the first one. And I think, you know, everybody in this country, I think on both sides of the aisle, are deeply concerned about the people who are unemployed and people losing their jobs. 600,000 last month. You've got 12 million people. That's many people in Pennsylvania looking for work. So, and obviously the housing crisis has been severe. So what are we going to do to make sure we get the economy moving?
Ken, you were all about the message as a press secretary. How in the world would you go about selling a second stimulus plan?
Gosh, Jane, that's a great question, particularly in that it comes at a time when Americans are sitting around their kitchen tables figuring out where to save. We have a Democrat leadership on the Hill that seems to be sitting around meeting tables figuring out how much more to spend. Just 2 weeks ago, the president took to the floor of the House in his address to Congress and talked about making hard choices. Well, it's time for the president to exercise that leadership, the leadership he just spoke about, and have the congressional Democrats dial it back a little bit. We just spent $800 billion in stimulus. Let's let some of that money get out into the economy and see if it works as they've told us it will.
I think the president has made very clear, I'm sorry to jump in, but I think the president has made very clear that that's exactly what we're doing. We need to see how the stimulus package works, and a lot of this money is to get the economy moving again, and infrastructure and education, and get people back to work. But I would say, just remember, we're cleaning up the Bush economy here. $4 trillion. Come on. The president added $4 trillion, the most any president's ever added, President Bush.
Josh, at what point, though, do you inherit something and it actually becomes yours? It's his now.
Well, sure, but he's cleaning up. I assume you're not going to tell me that what he's cleaning up is his creation in the last 60 days. He's cleaning up years of mismanagement, adding $4 trillion to our national debt. That takes time, and he inherited an economy that was in free fall. So we got to give some time here to get things going. The Republicans want to play games and immediately say, oh, yeah, it's all President Obama's fault. But he's trying to do the best to get the economy moving again, and that's why I think the country is standing behind him.
Ken, why then is Nancy Pelosi out there with this message saying, yeah, I think it's going to happen. It potentially could happen. Let's leave the doors open. And you've got Mark Zandi, who works so closely with the House Democrats, saying, you know what, expect it. Are they trying to prepare us? Is that all?
You know, Jane, that's a great question. You know, last week was kind of dominated by this silly debate over who's the spokesman for the Republican Party. Where's the leadership in the Republican Party? And I think what we're seeing this week between Nancy Pelosi suggesting a second stimulus and the White House kind of being caught off guard by that, it begs the bigger question. Who's in charge of the Democrat Party in this country? Is it the president or is it the speaker?
Josh, I know you want to answer that one.
Well, clearly the president is setting the agenda just like he did in the speech a minute ago. You work closely with Congress in any of these matters, and everyone knows that. But the direction is very, very clear on this. You know, we are trying to get ourselves out of a very deep hole. We've got 12 million people looking for jobs, 4.4 million people who've lost jobs since the recession. This is obviously going to take a lot of work, and we need to get people back to work.
Josh, the bigger numbers in play here are the $700 billion in a financial bailout. $800 billion spent for a stimulus package, another $410 billion spent just yesterday. The president is signing this bill behind closed doors because he's embarrassed about those 8,500 earmarks that we were just talking about. But the fact is, let's let those numbers work. Why is Nancy Pelosi all of a sudden out pushing for more and more spending at a time